Hey, what's up, YT? Working on the 2015 YZ250FX. We're having a starter problem, and it's not the windings. We tested that out good. What we cleaned the brushes, what we noticed when we cleaned them the first go around was that they were pretty short. Like they didn't have much left, but they did have some life. So I did a little trick that bought me about another 30 hours. I'm going to show you that trick right now. And then also we're going to replace the brushes, so we'll show you that as well. But first off, to pull the starter on these older ones, you don't need to pull the header. Yes, of course, it's easier. You can, but you don't have to. Especially if you have the right tools, one of these little right angle ratcheting wrenches, you can take off the wire with the Allen head, Phillips head, and then the Allen head, this bolt here, where is it? Right there, will just goes right there, and you can reach in there and there's plenty of room if you have this tool. And this is the tool I also carry with me in my pack when I go do woods riding too, just to mention that. Good to have. But anyways, let me show you. So we pulled the starter. First thing to do is to clean it. Clean this with alcohol or some degreaser that's not going to leave a residue. Clean all that area right there. I pulled out the, see if I can show you this. The brushes go in that little groove right there. And I already pulled them out. So it just popped out. See if I can focus this better. Okay, there we go. So let me see if I can get a pointer. It's a little big, but let's see if this will work here. In that slot right there, that's where the spring was. And then this goes, the brush goes in that slot. So as you can see, there's literally almost no brushes left on here. So we have to replace some brushes, but what bought me a lot of extra time, what I did was, see if I can get this spring out of here. And as you can see on this side, it's still, spring is still in there, and this one's almost lined up still. So see if I can get it back in just to show you. Well, you'll see. Oh, there we go. Okay, so when you put it in, that's what keeps the pressure on. The springs keep the pressure on it, so as it rotates, it constantly has pressure. But as this wears down, it's not as long, so then the spring has to expand more, and then you're eventually going to lose. You're not going to have enough pressure, especially with the dirt on there, if you have dirt as well. So what you can do is just take these springs and pull them, stretch them out. So now, let's see if I can take the other one out and show you. Sorry, I keep going off camera here. So this is the one I stretched out. See how it's longer. And before you put it in, just squeeze it back, not too much. So as you can see, it's still a bit longer. Another trick is just to take a small washer that is the same diameter as the end and put it in before you put the spring in. If you can put more than one, but once you get to a certain point, it's going to be hard to put this back into this end. So you're going to have to fit all this together, and you're going to have a lot of pressure on there. So it might be, depending, the more worn that your brushes are, the more either spacers you're going to want to add into there, or the more you're going to want to try to stretch that spring out. You could also, for certain starters, I don't know about the Yamahas, but for certain starters you can buy, I believe, just these springs, where you can look around, use like a pen spring, or just look around for different springs. You don't want them too firm because it'll wear too fast. You want to try to use something around this same wire thickness, the same rate. All right, so I'm going to pause it and show you how to replace the brushes now. What we're going to do is just see these two Phillips here. We're going to loosen those up and take them out. All right, so as you can see, this came out. That's what it looks like. Let me see if I could focus better. So yeah, one removed. This one, on some of them, you have to solder in the second one. I think this is one of them. I don't think taking off that screw is going to do anything. I believe we have to cut and solder this one. So I'm going to just grab the replacement brushes real quick, and we'll see what they look like, and that should help me. All right, so here's the new ones. And look at that, they come with new springs. And notice how much longer they are. I'll show you, but they're so much longer than the ones. These ones are all it's a good deal longer. I'll show you out of the package, but it's at least a millimeter. And I just stretched that one out too, so it looks like I don't need to solder it like I thought I was going to. This just crosses over this bar on the inside. So I'm going to take it apart. Take this screw off like I was going to. I'm going to pause it so I can pull this out from under the camera and work on it easier. Alright guys, so there's a little indent there that you could stick like a flathead screwdriver under. This hole for the second one, this whole plastic needs to be popped out because it's keeping this metal on this rod, so it's keeping it from sliding in or out. It's keeping it centered on there. So this whole thing's got to pop out. Just put that in there and kind of use the end as leverage and just pop this up. It should come out. There we go. So now it's off, and this is what I was talking about. This is what the metal makes contact with. So this, let me take it out of the package and show you real quick. So this is the new brush, and this metal tab just slides right over that right there. And then that plastic housing is what keeps it in place. So I'm going to put this in the plastic housing and then slide it right back over. So I just pulled out the old one. And the recessed part faces back, so the flush part faces inward. All right, so I got that in there. Actually, what I'm going to do real quick is just clean this up before putting it back in. Glad I cleaned this. It was just filled with metal particulates, and even this like random piece of, looks like a piece of solder, but that could have been causing some weird issues too. All right, so we got this cleaned out. Just gonna slide, sorry for the lighting, part where the tab goes. I pulled the brush out. The part where that tab goes, got to put that in first, so it goes underneath the metal part. So there, I just popped it in. Now put this back in again with the raised side. See, that's the raised side facing out, facing that way, and the flush side is going to be faced towards the middle. This was actually like super easy to push on. So what I'm going to do is make these tabs a little bit closer together so that I'll feel more comfortable, that I'll have a better connection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this down on somewhere flat and then just press down with a screwdriver so those tabs will bend in a little bit more. So I'm going to give it that try right now. I don't want to do it too much first. Yeah, it definitely feels better, but I'm going to do a little bit more. All right, don't do what I just did. I went overboard. I tried it a few times with a screwdriver, and then I just put this on the ground and smashed it with the end of this and flattened it way too much. Now I got to pry it open a little bit. All right, got it in. It's fitting nice and snug now like I wanted it. Could also show you now the difference between the old one and the new one, as you can see. That's about, just to give you a reference, I think this bike has 130 hours on it. All right, now we're just going to screw the other one in. I'm not going to bore you putting this back together, but we're going to screw this other one back in. We're going to pop the springs in these little slots right here. And then we're going to carefully shove this in the slot after the spring, same way it came out. All right, guys, I just had an idea, and I don't recommend you doing this. Could if you want, but I'm going to put the old springs back in, and I'm going to save these new springs for when it wears down a little bit more, because there's so much new length of this that I have to shove back in that slot that these old springs are going to have plenty of pressure. And I feel like by using the new ones, I'm just going to compact them and ruin them. So I hope I don't regret this, but I'm going to put the old springs in and save the new springs for when these start to wear down a little bit more. All right, so we got the one side in. As you can see, there's plenty of pressure on this spring with the old spring. I did stretch it out a lot, but got one in. Gonna pop the other one in, and I'm not gonna bore you with that. So this one, next one, this goes there, and then the screw goes in. Pop the spring in there. Actually, it's already in there. This beveled side faces the armature, whatever the heck it's called, and that slides in there like that. Pop it all together, and you should be good to go. Hopefully this helps any of you guys out there having trouble. I have a Kickstarter on this bike, but I can only imagine how much of a pain it would be out there trying to get the bike started and having this problem if I didn't have a Kickstarter. So hopefully this helps one of you guys. Please throw a subscription. Really trying to get over 1,000 subscribers, so that would mean a lot. All right, thanks guys.